It's launch day, and I want to tell you why I built this before I tell you what it is, because if you understand the why, then the what makes complete sense. I made a lot of fun. Literally last week, actually it's been a couple of weeks, Jason sent me this emoji, and it was this roller coaster, literally a roller coaster emoji. When I asked him, what does income look like? And he just said up and down, up and down. And I got to tell you, that's probably the most accurate description I've ever heard. And I don't know about you, but there's been seasons in my life and in my business where it's like these high highs and these low lows. And in 24 years in the business, what I have found is that you're a talented loan officer. You got good relationships, you got good product knowledge, and still there's inconsistencies in our business. And what I really believe is this: it's not a skill problem. It's not a market. You know, I hear it, oh, the rates are high, the rates are low. It doesn't matter what market you're in. I believe there's more working behind the scenes, and whether you're in a refinance boom or whether you're in high rates or low rates, there's still inconsistency. You're going to have a good month and, hey, it's seasonal but when you peel back the layers of the ups and downs, what I really believe is this: there is a system that runs automatically in your business for the producers, that it's just this consistency. I'll never forget, I was meeting with a dear friend of mine who was a mentor for years. His name was Ron Lemon. And I just remember meeting with him, and I told him one day in exhaustion and frustration, we'd meet every other week. And we did that for, I bet 8 or 9 years. I mean, it was just a long, great friendship. And he was a retired bank president. And I never forget, we were sitting at a barbecue joint, and in exhaustion, I was like, Ron, why? I just want to coast. And he looked at me with the most gentle and the softest eyes, and he said, Steve, you can't coast, because life isn't on a level playing field. It's always uphill. And when he said it, there was a new resolve that came on the inside of me. And I just realized coasting is not the answer. Coasting is, you'll never coast. You're always losing ground if you're not advancing. And I know that may be hard for somebody to hear. And for me, it was one of those, it was an aha, but it was also a little hard. I'm like, well, dang it, I want to coast. Dang it, I don't want the ups and downs. Dang it, I want a consistent business. And what I just began to realize is this: it is not what comes to you or at you or the busy work. It's that when you have a predictable operating system inside of your business, it doesn't mean you're not going to have these little ups and downs, but they become less and less. And instead of going from 1 to 6 units or 4 units to 0 or 4 units to 12 and then back down to 5, your highs and lows become lower and lower. And you may do 6 one month and 4 the next, and 8 one month and 6 the next. And the gaps begin to shrink. And I'll tell you this, when I started over last year, I sat down at a cold desk, and you guys have heard me say it, and I'm going to continue to say it. There was no pipeline, no active agent relationships, a database that had not been worked in years. I call it a broken list. I had a ton of people in and around my life, but I hadn't been originating on the day-to-day for over 4 years. I was leading sales teams. And what I got to tell you is this: I was able to, in short order, run this same system that I have been able to implement and refine. And even looking back now, it's like if this had been put together a year ago, I would have got there even faster. And here's what's interesting. Whenever I began to do this, I began to see it, very systematically, the income grow and break. And finally, after 8 months, broke through the $80,000 in net income in 1 month, and continuing to see stability in that income to where not high highs, not low lows, but a consistent growth over a short period of time. And here's what I got to tell you is I really feel like God's placed this in my heart more than about closings, more than loans. What I believe is this: when you begin to take steps towards transformation, see, you're already good. You're already a great personality. You've already got what it takes to be a great originator. Now it's time to walk through a predictable process that I believe will literally give you the foundation to have transformation in your business, because it's more than just closings. When your income's predictable, you show up differently for your family, for your clients, and the purpose you were made for. I believe God has called each and every one of you to make a big impact in the lives of the families and the people that you're serving each and every day. Hey, and I say this all the time, it doesn't serve the world to play small. It serves the world to play big, and let your light in life be an example of what consistency with the right operating system and the right, I'll tell you this, it's very simple, but it's not easy to implement. And the reason why I say that is we're the biggest deterrent of it. It starts with our mindset. It starts with our identity, and then it moves into, I really believe this, and this is part of what God's called me to help our industry with, is I believe our industry is intoxicated with two things. Number one, it is busy, 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 busy. How many of you could raise your hand and say, yep, me, I understand that. I remember when I got in the business, it was go get the business, meet the agent, get the referral, work the lead, gather documents, pre-approve them, run them AUS, get them locked in, make sure they don't shop. When they get locked in, go chase documents. Now clear conditions and fight fires and do everything you can to keep it online and on track. And then by the time you get to closing, you close it up and oh my gosh, there's closing steps. And oh yeah, by the way, go get more. If you're not getting more, you're going to be on this massive roller coaster and busy, 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 busy. Anybody? Busy. And what I really began to realize was busy is not the solution, effective is. Well, how do I get off that roller coaster? And number one, the industry wants you busy. Number two, the industry believes in behavior modification. And listen, I know you have to do things till the feelings follow, but if we don't address identity, it is strictly behavior modification as long as there's enough people pushing on you. And as long as you're in this heavy accountability, you'll keep doing it. But once the accountability lifts, you don't continue to do the right activity because you haven't become the person that does that activity. And what I believe on day one of the 5-day challenge, here's the system that we have built. And I believe it starts with identity first. And then once you know who you are, once you begin to identify the limiting beliefs and the past experiences that have framed your future expectation. And for some of you, you've said, hey, I've got a call reluctance or fear of making calls. No. We got to address the identity. See, it's not fear. It's a false belief that when you believe in that false belief, it creates doubt, not fear. Doubt shows up like fear, where it's like, I'm afraid to make calls. No. You have a doubt that when you make the call, you'll get the right result. So when you see a fact, I've got to make calls, I've got to prospect in a cool way, I've got to ask for the business in a cool way, then it all shows up and you've falsely labeled it as fear, but it's really doubt, and doubt travels to your heart and creates inactivity. Well, when you have inactivity, the false start where it's like, hey, I'm stuck, I can't, I'm just in this rut. Nope, we got to address identity first. Once we address identity, then we've got to know what's the tactical number. I used to say it all the time. If I knew what to do, I'd do it. Well, listen, you're going to walk out on day 2 knowing the right activity that's literally going to help. Look, I believe this. All of our activity is a math equation. And when you've measured thousands and thousands and tens of thousands of activity, patterns begin to show up. And those patterns say, if I do this activity consistently over this amount of time, I'll see this amount of closed transactions. You're going to walk away with that on day 2. Number 3, you got to have a list. You got to have a great list. You got to know that the people you're calling are the right people that can help you effectively do what it is God's called you to do in your business. And sales is not slimy. It's part of what we do because we provide solutions to a market that cannot otherwise buy a house without a loan officer to help guide them through a finance transaction. Number 4, you got to figure out how to put it in your calendar so that it is a same way every time process. I know what I'm doing on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And guess what? When the order's right, it all fits. We're going to work through that. Day 5 is going to be, how do I ask for the business and how do I close for commitment in a way that helps me convert more of what I've already got? Not chase dead leads, cold leads, not chasing internet leads, not chasing leads that convert at 1 in every 100. We're talking about referred relationships that close 1 in 4 or 25%. And I believe this, by the time you walk through day 1 through 5, you're going to have a full operating system for you to be able to implement day 1 And if you'll do it just line upon line, and it's like, I've had so many of you reach out, Steve, are you doing anything? Are you helping coach people? And this has been my answer. We've literally spent the last 100 days just building this and looking back and saying, okay, what were the most effective things that have helped me get back in the seat and have the most absolute, just remarkable results, and continues to grow and continues with consistency. And this is the answer to that. I wanted to create something that helps you get off the roller coaster, that helps you have a predictable business, that helps you become what I call a predictable producer. And listen, I'm laughing because I know I should come up with a name that's easier to spell for some of my spelling challenged people. I'm like, but it is what it is. It's a predictable income that a predictable producer produces when you do predictable activity the right way. So I couldn't I'm like, okay, we're going to call it predictable producer. So you are becoming a predictable producer. And I've got to tell you this, I really believe that if you'll lean in, that you're going to see this is the year of long-term, lifelong transformation in your business. It doesn't serve the world to play small. We're going to play big. I want to invite you on this challenge with me. And the starting point is the 5-day challenge. Now, here's what I did. I was trying to figure out, do I do it live? How does all that work? But what I kept hearing was, I need to consume it at my pace in my time. And I want to encourage you, listen, it's over 4.5 hours of what I believe will be transformational in your life. I spent a ton of time. Every day has a 3 to 6 page worksheet that at the end of day 5 becomes a complete workbook. And it literally will become your roadmap for your business today, starting with identity. Next, the numbers. You're going to build the list, and then you're going to build your livable calendar, and then you're going to know the right ask to ask for 95% of every conversation. And what's so cool is it's this entire workbook with literally a training. Then we do a module through the worksheet to help you uncover each day's assignment. And then you've got the worksheet and downloadable documents to couple together. And I've got to tell you, it's remarkable. I really believe that I just look back and say, man, when I started 20 years ago, 24 years ago, even 10 years ago, if I'd have had something like this, I could have accelerated my growth faster. And this is what I want you to help join me in, the 5-day Predictable Producer Challenge. Go to predictableproducer.com. And you can literally just go to /challenge, or even just predictableproducer.com. And there'll be show notes where you can click on it. Now, I will tell you this. I did it at $297 for the first founding 50 members. And the first 50 are going to be what I classify as our founding group. After that, it's going to live at $497. And I really believe it's worth $1,000 or more. But I wanted it to be accessible, whether you're closing 0 to a couple loans a month, or 10 loans a month, or 20 or 30, that price wouldn't be a barrier, but you got to pay something. I really learned this from a dear friend of mine. If you don't pay money for something, you won't pay attention. You won't put your heart into it. And so I want to encourage you, join me on the 5-day challenge. I am so excited. Today is the launch day, regardless of when you're listening to this episode. And this is something I believe will help you transform your business and will be an on-ramp to the Predictable Producer group that we're building, that I really feel a calling to lead this industry, to have lifelong change and to make an eternal impact in the lives of the families and the people you serve. So I want to invite you on this journey with me to become a predictable producer. Go to predictableproducer.com, predictableproducer.com, and I look forward to seeing you on the inside. See ya.